So look at this block. This is the block diagram of TMS32054002 processor. In this block diagram, there are two black boxes in the top. So these two black boxes are address generation logics. As you see here, one block is called as program address generation logic (PAGN). Another block is called as data address generation logic, which is DAGN. So in the program address generation logic, we have a program counter, which is PC, and IPTR is an interrupt pointer, instruction pointer, and there is something like repeat counter. So we are using the instruction RPT, means how much times the instruction has to be repeated. Further, there is a need for a counter register. So for a repeat instruction, there is a repeat counter which holds how many times the next instruction need to be repeated. BRC means what? Block repeat counter. So a certain block has to be repeated. So this block has to be repeated how many times? That number of times value will be stored in BRC, which is block repeat counter. And RSA is repeat start address, and REA is repeat end address. Okay, so where the block has to start, that address will be held in RSA, and where the block is ending, that address will be stored in repeat end address. So these are all associated with program memory, and which is controlled by program address generation logic. And there is something like data address generation logic, where we have 8 auxiliary registers, AR0 to AR7. These auxiliary registers are used as a pointers, right? These auxiliary registers are used as a pointers for indirect addressing, where indirect addressing is most efficient, as we all know. So these auxiliary registers are used as a pointers, AR0 to AR7. And for auxiliary registers, there is auxiliary register arithmetic unit 0 and auxiliary register arithmetic unit 1. So within the auxiliary registers also, we can perform some arithmetic operations. For that, there is a auxiliary register arithmetic unit 0 and auxiliary register arithmetic unit 1 available. And there is something like auxiliary register pointer, and there is something like BK. BK means circular buffer. Circular buffer is very important for doing the convolution. So when time permits, I will talk about this in detail. And there is something like data pointer, and there is something like stack pointer, as like what we know. Okay. So these are the other important things which we have to concentrate. And when coming to the features, as told, as discussed, advanced modified Harvard architecture, 3 separate 16-bit data memory buses and 1 program memory buses, 40-bit arithmetic logic unit, 40-bit barrel shifter, 2 independent 40-bit accumulator, as we all know, and 17 intra 17-bit parallel multiplier coupled to 40-bit dedicated adder for non-pipeline single cycle MAC operation, which is multiplication and accumulation operation, which is convolution, and 16 intra 16K bit on-chip ROM configured for program memory, and 127K 16-bit on-chip RAM composed of 8 blocks of 8K into 16-bit on-chip dual access program memory. As told, dual access memory means from the same memory, 2 data can be fetched simultaneously. One may be XFN, another may be HFN. So XFN can be addressed with DAB, HFN can be addressed with CAB, and XFN can be fetched through DB, HFN can be fetched through CB, something like what we have discussed earlier. And that is what dual access programmer data memory and a single access programmer data memory, which is usually in the second point. 8 blocks of 8K into 16-bit on-chip single access program RAM. And there are 2 address generators, as I told you, program address generation and data address generation, as we see right now, with 8 auxiliary registers, AR0 to AR7. And there is a single instruction repeat instruction and block repeat operations for program memory, for program code. So these are all the features of 5416 processor. And separate program and data spaces allow simultaneous access to program instructions and data, providing a high degree of parallelism. 2 read operations and 1 write operations can be performed in a single cycle because of 4 pairs of buses. Instruction with parallel store and application specific instructions can fully utilize this architectures. Very interesting. And data can be transferred between program and data spaces. 16 intra 16 kilobits of on-chip ROM configured for program memory, 16 kilobytes of program memory. Such parallelism supports a powerful set of arithmetic logic and bit manipulation operations that can all perform in single machine cycle. And this is another functional overview of 5416 processor. So, which has 16 kilobytes of program memory and 64 kilobytes of dual access program memory and 64 kilobytes of single access program memory. And if you see for program memory, there is a one program bus, P bus, and for data memory, you can have P bus, C bus, D bus, and E bus. And similarly, single access means you can have only one program bus and one data bus. But if it is dual access means two address bus and two data buses are there. Because of that, we are saying that it is dual access memory. Okay. And there is some internal bus, and MCBSP means it is a serial port, multi-channel buffered serial port, and the GPIO is general purpose input output, and there are timers and there are PLL, and there is some DMA logic, and enhanced IO, and HPA means host port interface, which is connecting the parallel ports with external peripheral, and lot more. So in your DSP subject, we will be discussing about this in detail, but I am just briefing you, which you can celebrate much better in your digital signal processing. Okay, so this is the memory structure where you have a separate program memory and data memory as shown. So internal memory is user program area is from 0000 to 7FFF, and system program memory is this. So this is with respect to the kit that what we are using. And let us look at the program that is our today's objective. So which will be very much useful for you to do your DSP lab. Okay. So this is the simple program which can perform the addition of two numbers. Let us assume the first data is 2, which is stored in the data memory location A0000. Because it is 16-bit processor, the address is 16-bit address A000. In the memory location A000, we are storing the value 2. In the memory location A0001, we are storing the value 4, and we are going to add 4 plus 2, and the answer is going to be the 6, which is stored in the data memory location 2. So for that, how to write the code? So this is the code, and this is the syntax for writing an assembly language program in 5416 DSP processor. And we are using, in our lab, we are using VI microsystem kits, and the processor is 5416 processor, and the kit which is used is VI microsystem kits. And VI microsystems has provided us some separate software package. By using that, we can write the code, or else we can use the Code Composer Studio, which is a proprietary tool, as like Keil IDE for all embedded systems. For digital signal processing, we are having Code Composer Studio from Texas Instruments. Because the processor is from Texas Instruments, the IDE is also from Texas Instruments. Okay, so Code Composer Studio is an integrated development environment like Keil IDE for performing signal processing applications for TMS processors, which is Texas Instruments processors, like PIC microcontroller. PIC microcontroller is from Microchip. For Microchip, we have an MPLAB. MPLAB is an IDE for developing programs for PIC microcontrollers. Similarly, Code Composer Studio is an IDE for developing the DSP applications with respect to Texas Instruments. Okay, so we can write a program, the same program with Code Composer Studio, or we can write a same program in a VI microsystem given tool. Okay, so LD, load store architecture, as I told you, this uses load store architecture. Because it is load store architecture, LD means load and ST means store. Okay, so loading the register, LD means loading the register, store means storing from the register, loading the register from memory. LD means loading the register from memory, ST means storing the register content to memory, something like this. So in our 8051, data will go from left to right, but in our DSP processor, data will go from right to left with respect to the instruction. If you see LD hash, as usual, hash means it is immediate addressing. LD hash 140H, DP means load immediately the data pointer, with the immediate constant 140H, something like that we need to understand. So load the data pointer with immediate constant 140H. This is the meaning for this instruction. So load the data pointer with the immediate constant 140H, and then RSBX CPL means reset the sign extension mode, something like that. This is not necessary for you, and right now, and there is some no operation. And then LD0, A means load the accumulator from the data memory location 0. Load the accumulator from the data memory location 0. Data memory location means there is A000. So load the accumulator with the content of the data memory location 0. 0 means it is A000. Okay. So 2 will be loaded with accumulator. Then add 1, A means add the content of the data. Then B means branch. Branch to halt label. The halt label is here. Here we are branching. So in 8051 you have a short jump. Here we have a branch, something like that. So this is the simple program for adding two numbers. You may be wondering, how do we get this A000 address? Okay, so that is what the top status register is shown here. There is a 16-bit status register. Out of 16-bit status register, 9 bits are data pointer bits. 9 bits are data pointer bits. So these 9 bits means 2 power 9. 512 bits are there. So 512 pages. So 512 pages, it is something like page addressing. 512 pages. So totally 16-bit addressing. The most significant bit 9 bit is from DP, and the least significant 7 bit is from the instruction. Okay. So 9 plus 7, which will be 16. Okay. 9 plus 7, which will be 16. So 9 bits from data pointer and 7 bits from the instruction will form the 16-bit address. So 140 in 9 bit is 101010 0 and 0000 is 9 bit, and along with that if you put 0 and if you form a 16 bits by having this 9 bit as MSB and the remaining 7 zeros, you will get A000. Okay, so having this 140, that is 0001 instead of 1, 9 bit means what? This 0 is 0000, this 4 is 0100, this one is 1. So 1010 is A, and then the remaining all 0, and the again remaining 7 zeros means it will become A000. You'll try to understand. If you do not understand, I'm responsible to clarify your doubts. So this 9-bit data pointers are MSB bits, which has 140. This one is only 1 bit. This one is 1 bit. The remaining these two are 4 plus 4, 8 bits. This 4 is 4 bit 0100. This 0 is 4 bit 0000. These two becomes 8 bits. So this will become 190 bit. So 10100 and 0000 and this 0000 forms a 16 bit. So that is how we can form the address like this. So MSB 9 bit forms a page, and the remaining 7 bits forms from the instruction. Okay. So 9 plus 7. So LD0, A means how do we get A00 like this? You will work out and then you can understand. Okay. This is how we can perform the addition operation by using 5416 processor. And coming to the multiplication. Okay, coming to the multiplication. So there is a hardware multiplier available, as we all know very well. So here if you look at the screen, A000, we have the value 2. In A001, data memory location, we have the value 4. In A0002, we have the product, which is 8. In A003, we have the product MSB, which is 0. Because when two 16-bit numbers are multiplied, we'll get the answer in 32-bit. So the least significant 32-bit is available in A002, and the most significant 32-bit is available in A003. That is what. So LSB and MSB of the product is available in A002 and A003. Here the input data is 4 and 2. So 4 into 2 is 8, and 8 is stored in A002, and MSB is 0. That's why A003 contains 0. So this is the one we are supposed to do by using 5416 processor. So as usual, LD hash 140H, DP means it is pointing A000 address. Data pointer is pointing A00 address, that is MSB 9 bit. Then RSBSCPL and no operation as usual we are supposed to do. And then LD0H, A means, as we all know, load the clear the accumulator. This is something like clearing the accumulator. Okay, load the accumulator with immediate constant 0. So now we are clearing the accumulator. Then LD0H, T. So load the T register. There is something like temporary register. You can see the top right corner of the slide. All are requested to look at the top right corner of the screen. So multiply the content of T register with the content of the memory location and store the result in the accumulator. Whenever we perform multiplication, so one data should be in the T register, another data should be in the destination register. Okay, so to multiply the content, one content has to be in the T register, which is called as temporary register. Hence, we are moving the first data, that is which is available in A000, the 2. Hence, we are moving this 2 to T register through the instruction LD0H, T. This is direct addressing. This is immediate addressing. So LD has 0H, A is loading the accumulator with immediate constant 0, which is clearing the accumulator through immediate addressing mode. And LD0H, T is direct addressing, where loading the T register with the content of the memory location 0. Content of the memory location 0 is A000. In A000, we have the content as 2. So this 2 will be loaded in the T register. Fantastic. Then multiply. MPO is multiply. Multiply the content of the memory location 1 with the content of the accumulator and store the result in the accumulator. Something like that we have to understand. So content of the memory location 1 is 4. And when it is multiplied with the content of the accumulator, and right now the content of the T register. So multiply the content of T register is 2. So multiply the content of T register with the content of the data memory location 1, and then store the product in A. It is something like that. So MPY means multiply the content of T register with, like that we need to understand. So content of the T register is 2. So multiply the content of T register with the content of the memory location 1 means 2 into 4, which is equal to 8, and A will be there in the accumulator. As we all know, accumulator is 40-bit accumulator. So lower order 16-bit, higher order 16-bit, etc. So store the lower order 16-bit of accumulator to the data memory location 2, and store the higher order 16-bit of accumulator to the data memory location 3. So lower order is 8, which is stored in the 2, which is A002. Higher order is 0, which is stored in the data memory location 3, which is A003. I hope you can understand. Then branch halt means we are jumping back to the same location. You can understand like this. And subtraction is done by an instruction called SUBC, subtract with carry. Subtraction is done by an instruction called SUBC, subtract with carry. And then repeated subtraction will become division. So there is one formula here. By using this formula, we do subtractions. Right now it is not necessary, but I'm just briefing about this. By using the repeated subtraction instruction, we are able to perform the division. That is what I like to highlight from this. So as usual, the load has 140H, data pointer, and these 4 instructions remain same, and LD0, A. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. That is the answer, right? So in A000 we have 6, in A001 we have 3, and in A002 we have 2. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. That is what our objective. So here what we have to see is we are loading the data pointer with 140 because we are, for convenience, we are using the same address A000. And load 0, A. Load the 6 with the accumulator and repeat the next instruction 15 times. RPT has 0F, H means repeat the next instruction 15 times. Something like that we need to understand. So next instruction is sub C, 1, A. This and all looks new. Sub C, 1, A. This looks new. This 1 means one left shift. Subtract with carry and do one left shift, something like that. This will be repeated 15 times. And this formula will work. So later on, if you are really interested, we can look at it in detail. But for time being, it is not necessary. And store the lower word of accumulator 2. So when you do that, means it will do the division. So the quotient and remainder. Quotient will be there in the lower word of accumulator, and the remainder will be there in the higher word of accumulator. 6 divided by 3. The quotient is 2. So 2 will be stored in the data memory location 2. STLA means store the lower word of accumulator to the data memory location 2, which is quotient, and store the higher word of accumulator to the data memory location 3. So where the remainder is 0, hence in A003 we have 0. and then you are stopping the operation. So these are all just to warm up how to perform the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But the most important thing is convolution. This is very, very important. The most important thing is convolution, because convolution is signal processing, convolution is filtering, filtering is signal processing, something like that. All put together, we need to perform convolution. So convolution, we can do it with numbers by storing the numbers in the memory, and we can do the real-time convolution by connecting the signal generator and CRO, as like how we connect our microphone and loudspeaker. That is what our main objective today. Okay, anyway, quickly to refresh. So .mmregs .text means memory mapped registers. .mmregs means we have to understand is memory mapped registers, and .text means it is a text. And we are starting as usual. Loading the data pointer with 140, and then the remaining things as usual. So STM, this is new instruction for you all. So just wait, that's why for introducing this, I am just given this program. STM means store the memory mapped register. Which is memory mapped register? AR0 is memory mapped register. What is AR0? Accelerator register 0. So store the memory mapped register, accelerator register 0 with the immediate constant B000H. Okay. So B00H is a pointer which is pointing X of n, say for example. So accelerator register must be loaded with this address where AR0 is acting as a pointer for X of n. Let us assume like this. Okay. AR0, AR1, AR2 are the pointers. These pointers are loaded with the address. For that, we are using this instruction STM. STM means store the memory mapped register. If so, store the memory mapped register AR0 with immediate constant B000. Store the memory mapped register AR1 with an immediate constant 0B010H. Store the memory mapped register with the immediate constant. Store the memory mapped register AR2 with the immediate constant B020. Something we can understand. And why we are storing AR0, AR1, AR2 means we have the corresponding video. I will show you that video now. It's very, very important. Later on, you can watch that video in the offline. Okay, later on you can watch that video in the offline. So there is a separate playlist. There is a separate playlist for us. So in this signal processing, that's separate. If in our channel, if you go to our channel PSGECE, Embedded Learning Made Simple, in that if we have a playlist, in that playlist we have a signal processing using TMS3205416 digital signal processor. If you look at the playlist, here up to the realization of convolution as low pass filter with multiplier, adder and delay element we have seen already. Concept of performing linear convolution with 3MS3205416 is being described here using this. Okay, here if you observe carefully, if you look at the screen, you can understand this. Why B010 is explained very clearly. It will take some time, around some 5-6 minutes. With the example that what we have discussed earlier, performing convolution with 4 coefficients, YB000, YB010, YB030, YB020. So all these things is being explained very clearly in this HFN to the multiplication. So it is explained in this a little bit clearly. Maybe you are requested to look at it. It will be very interesting, right? Okay. So from this video, you can able to understand how the coefficients are stored in the program memory, which is HFN. How the HFN, that is the input from the microphone, are stored in the data memory like this, and how it is getting convolved, and how we are getting the convolved output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, as we have seen in the realization, is being described very clearly. Humble request, as I told you several times, we are living in the mobile app world. We have never exposed to work on the machine language. We are never exposed to work on the assembly language. We are never exposed to analyze through memory. and it is not necessary to right now, but it is very important to understand how the signal processing is happening through hardware to make ourselves much more confident in computer architecture, to make ourselves much more confident in microprocessors and microcontrollers, to make ourselves much more confident in embedded systems. So the knowledge in this is mandatory. That is why I'm highlighting the signal processing, because signal processing is a major contribution for an embedded system, because our mobile phone is an embedded system. Everything is multimedia in our mobile phone. So just like that, without by skipping signal processing, doing embedded system is meaningless. That is why I'm just bringing in DSP first, then going for the remaining part of the embedded systems. That is why. So looking at this video will help us to understand how to store X of n, how to store H of n, how it performs the convolution by using the MACD. So MAC and D, delay means after multiplication and accumulation, because of this delay instruction, D instruction, it will be shifted to this, something like that, which was explained very clearly in this particular video, the concept of performing linear convolution with TMS3205416. So I request you all to look at it to understand how to perform the convolution of 4 coefficients and 4 inputs to get 7 outputs, and how it is being done in TMS3205416 processor. After watching this video, if you look at this program, we'll understand this 100% correctly. Okay, so that is what B00 is a pointer, B010 is a pointer, B020 is a pointer. Then as you told, no, folding, shifting, no, so storing from the back side, that is B0103. STM, store the memory of register B013H, AR1. That is access register 1 is stored with the last address of H of n. And then LD hash 100H, A means accumulator is loaded with the program memory address 100. So this 100 is a program memory address, and they repeat the next instruction 3 times. I told you several times, there is a special instruction called repeat instruction. Repeat instruction will repeat the next instruction that many number of times. So RPT hash 3H means repeat the next instruction n plus 1 times. Here it is 3 means 4 times the next instruction will get repeated, because we have only 4 coefficients, H of 0, H of 1, H of 2, H of 3. So write A means write into the memory. There is program memory. So write the content of accumulator to the memory location pointed by AR1, and then post decrement AR1. This is the one you need to understand. Look at the screen, look at the cursor, which is very important. Write A means write into program memory. What to write into program memory? Write the content of the memory location A, because accumulator, that is write A. So write the content of the memory location A to the program memory pointed by AR1. Okay, because there is a star in front of AR1. So AR1 is pointing some program memory location. So write the accumulator content into the program memory location pointed by AR1, and then after writing into that program memory, then decrement the AR1. Now AR1 is pointing B013, then decrement AR1 means AR1 will become B012. Because this has to be repeated 4 times, so again A content will be stored in B012, and again AR1 will get decremented, and A accumulator content will be stored in B011 and then B010. So in all the 4 locations, accumulator content will be stored. If accumulator content is 1 means 1111 will be stored in B000, B010, B011, B012, B013, something like that. You can understand. This is very, very important. Then again, this is the loop which performs that operation. And again, we are clearing the accumulator by storing the immediate, loading the accumulator with the immediate constant 0, and they repeat the next instruction 4 times. So store the AR2. AR2 is also clearing here, because again you see, store the lower word of accumulator to the memory location pointed by AR2, because there is a star, and then post increment. There is a possibility of post decrement, and there is a possibility of post increment. And if you look at the right hand side, STM hash B004H, AR0 means again acceleration 0 is loaded with the immediate constant B004, and loading the accumulator with the 0 and repeat the next instruction 5 times and clearing the accumulator. These are all the initialization of all the registers to perform the 4-bit convolution, something like this. Then after that, again we are initializing all the registers, all the pointers. AR0 is pointing the x of n, AR2 is pointing the h of n, and AR3 is storing the y of n. So for that, 3 address locations are there. And then now you can see BRC. What is BRC? Block repeat counter. Because n1 is 4 and n2 is 4, n1 plus n2 minus 1, when we perform linear convolution, 4 plus 4 minus 1, we will get 7 coefficients. So the block has to be repeated 7 times. So n minus 1 times you have to write. So the block has to be repeated 7 times. Hence we have written as STM has 6H, BRC. So the block has to be repeated 7 times. So STM has 6H, BRC, which is block repeat counter. After that, we are writing RPTB. RPTB means repeat the block CONB up to CONB. What is CONB? CONB is here. So repeat this block 7 times. When you do this, when you repeat this block 7 times, we'll get the linear convolved output. That is the idea here. Then you are stopping the program. So when you repeat this block 7 times means what you are doing here? Look at this. Load the accumulator with the content of the memory location pointed by AR0. AR0 is pointing x of n. So that is B000. So load the content of the memory location pointed by AR0. AR0 is pointing B000. Content of B000 will be copied to the accumulator, which is x of n. And then AR0 will get increment because it is post increment because of this plus to point the next location. Okay, then STM, store the memory map at the register AR2 with the immediate constant B020. Okay, so this is to something like first data is shifting in, something like that. First data is shifting in. So store the lower order of accumulator to AR2, star AR2, pointed by AR2. So B020, the first one will go to B020, something like this. Then STM, we are pointing B023 to AR2. Okay, so this will be explained clearly in that video. You can look at this video, you can understand. Then, very important, clearing the accumulator, and these two instructions are very important. Repeat the next instruction has 3 means 3 plus 1 times the next instruction will get repeated. So 4 times the next instruction will get repeated. 4 times what instruction get repeated? MACD, multiplication and accumulation. There is an instruction called MAC instruction, like hardware Macarena available. Here MAC instruction available. Presence of this in a signal processor can perform the signal processing applications more beautifully. So MACD means multiplication and accumulation with delay. Which has to be multiplied? Multiply the content of the memory location pointed by AR2 with the content of the program memory location 100 and accumulate it in the accumulator, and then do the delay. Delay means do one shift, as we rightly discussed. How many times this has to be repeated? This has to be repeated 4 times, which will perform the 4-tap FIR filter operation. After that, the A will have Y of n. Okay, so this Y of n will be stored to the memory location pointed by AR3, which is our Y of n location, which is B030. Okay, so this block has to be repeated 7 times. So 7 Y of n you will get. After that, we are halting the program. So up to this, to some extent, you can understand this. Later on, whenever you do the laboratory, whenever you do DSP processor lab, by the time if you have any doubt, we'll have this. We can discuss about this in detail. Parallelly, you can look at that video. You can understand much better in more beautiful way. That is the one I need to convey. Now it's very important. This is the climax. This is what I need for embedded systems, right? Okay, just I'm warming up and now I'm entering into this. So there is a microphone and ADC and DSP and there is a DAC and there is a loudspeaker. From the day 1 onwards till the 5 classes, we are talking about this in detail. That is why I'm talking about this. Okay. So there is a need for ADC and DAC. So here we have a separate ADC and DAC external into the board. And the ADC what we are using is AD7862 ADC. Okay, AD7862 ADC. And the DAC that what we are using in our kit is AD8582. AD8582 is a DAC. Okay, the signal from the microphone has to be given to the ADC, and the digital signal has to be given to the signal processor for performing convolution. After performing convolution, OFN will be given to the DAC. The DAC output is given to the loudspeaker. Okay, so the ADC and DAC specification is given, and the port address of the ADC is 04 and the port address of the DAC is again 04. And this is the ADC which we are using, and this is the DAC which we are using in our kit for understanding. Okay. Now we are going to do the real-time convolution. This is very important. Real-time convolution with 8,000 samples per second, something like that. And instead of microphone, for convenience, we are using signal generator. And instead of loudspeaker, for convenience, we are using an oscilloscope. Then only we can vary the frequency, and then we can check whether the low pass filtering is happening, high pass filtering is happening, band pass filtering is happening, band stop filtering is happening is not. That is what I need to understand. So here it's very important code, and this is the climax of our entire 4 or 5 classes discussion. And here if you see, this is an FER filter, which is real-time FER filter, where you are getting the input not from the keyboard, we are getting the input from the microphone. We are not giving the output to the memory or LED display, we are giving the output to the microphone, loudspeaker or the oscilloscope. So 8,000 samples has to be taken in 1 second. 8,000 samples has to be processed in 1 second. 8,000 samples has to be given out to the loudspeaker or given out to the CRO to plot that output waveform. Okay, so we are very much familiar with sinusoidal waveform, and then sinusoidal waveform is generated, given to the oscilloscope, given to the processor, and then after performing convolution, we are giving it to the oscilloscope to get the output. That is how we are programmed here. So quickly to refresh this program, as usual, .mmregs means memory of the registers, and .text, and STM is store the memory of the register. What is the memory of the register? ST0, status register 0 with immediate constant 1. And then RSBX CPL, RSBX fractional, and no operation. And storing the memory of the register AR1 with the immediate constant 150, and clearing the accumulator, and repeat the next instruction 34 H times. 34 hexadecimal is something like 52 in decimal. So repeat the next instruction 52 times. That means clearing the Axle register 1, 52 memory locations, clearing the 52 memory locations to perform convolution. And you see port read, reading from ADC. This is very interesting, right? Port read, PORTR, is reading the sample from the ADC. That is the one you need to understand. Okay. After that, loading that sample to the accumulator, and then the ADC is 12-bit ADC. So you are ending the content of accumulator with immediate constant 0 FFF, will take only the 12-bit analog to digital converter value in the accumulator. Then you are XORing with 800. Why you are XORing with 800 means you are post-scaling, you are pre-scaling. As I told you, you are pre-scaling. I'll let you know later. Then again, you are loading your Axle register 1 with an immediate constant 150, and store the lower word of accumulator to the Axle register pointed by AR1. AR1 is pointing 150. And then again, we are storing the memory of the register AR2 with the immediate constant 183. And then again, accumulator is loaded with immediate constant 0. And this is the very important. Repeat the next instruction 33H. It is 54 times. Repeat the next instruction 54 times, where MACD, multiply and accumulate with the delay star AR2 minus table. So this is the table, and then A. So multiply and accumulate the content of the memory location pointed by AR2, which is X of n. And the table has H of n. It is 50th order coefficients, 50th order filter, something like that. We have a 50th order filter, and 50 coefficients are in the lookup table, which is called table. So H of n is multiplied with X of n, and Y of n is stored in A. This is a 52 tap FIR filter, right? Hence, 52 times this instruction is getting repeated. So these two instructions alone will perform the 52 tap FIR filter just like that. And then sending out the value to the DAC. Sending out the value to the DAC, something like this, you see. Here we do pre-scaling. Here we are adding 800, which is post-scaling, and then store the lower port write. You see, so there's something like port write. So writing into the DAC. So after writing into the DAC and branch loop. So it will come back. It is a loop back. So as long as this code is getting executed, samples will be taken from the function generator, and then it is getting convolved with the table coefficients, and then it will be given to the DAC, and then it will be plotted in the oscilloscope. That is the one you need to understand. And this is the low pass filter coefficients. This is the low pass filter coefficients. Dot word is a assembler directive. 01F is a coefficient. 01FH is a coefficient. Because it is a 50th order filter, there are 51 coefficients, right? So these are all the filter coefficients, something like H of 0, H of 1, H of 2, H of 3, H of 4, H of 5, H of 6, etc. And FAR filter is a symmetric filter where if there are 50 coefficients, 25 coefficients are similar to another 25 coefficients. That is why if you see the first coefficient is 0,1F, you see the last coefficient is 0,1F. And the second coefficient is 0,10E, and the one next to the second, the last coefficient is 0,10E. Something like this. You will celebrate much better in your DSP. There is again separate signal processing theory, and there is again separate digital signal processing lab. You need to celebrate much. How best you are celebrating signal processing will be very much convenient and comfortable to the embedded system. That is why I have taken some 4 or 5 classes exclusively for signal processing. Now, the climax and very interesting story. The moral of this today's story is, this is the FAR filter code. Okay. This is the FAR low pass filter code. I can say this is the FAR filter high pass filter code. I can say this is the FAR filters band pass filter code. I can say this is the FAR filters band reject filter code. I can say this is the universal FAR filter code. This code can do low pass filtering. The same code can do high pass filtering. The same code can do band pass filtering. The same code can do band stop filtering. Everything the same code is doing. Why? Because the low pass filter or high pass filter or band pass filter or band stop filter is decided by the filter coefficients. Where is the filter coefficients? Filter coefficients are in the table. Okay. If we change the table, then automatically the same code will perform low pass. That means, with respect to our experience, if we want to say, if the table is 1 and 1, this code will do low pass filtering. If the table is 1 and minus 1, that is, the filter coefficient is 1 and minus 1, the same code will do high pass filtering. Okay. So the code remains same, and the table will have the filter coefficients, and the filter coefficients are deciding whether it is a low pass filter or high pass filter or band pass filter, band stop filter. This is the magic of digital signal processing. For all filters, only one code is more than enough. For low pass filter, have some set of filter coefficients. For band pass filter, have some set of filter coefficients. For band stop filter, have some set of filter coefficients. Something like you see in the screen. This is the filter coefficients for low pass filter, which is available as a table, and this is the filter coefficients for high pass filter, which is available as a table 1. Humble request to each and every one of you, look at the screen. So there is something like table 1. Table 1 is a high pass filter coefficients, 50th order. Table is a low pass filter coefficients. Something like this, it goes on. Similarly, there may be band pass filter coefficients and band reject filter coefficients. So what we have to do in this code, if I write a table with respect to this particular slide, with respect to this particular discussion, table is low pass filter. This table is a low pass filter, 50 coefficients. When I give the label here table, this code will perform low pass filtering. So if this is table 1 filter coefficients, instead of table in this program, if I go table 1, it will take the high pass filter coefficients, and the same code will perform high pass filtering. That is what my message today. Okay. So filter coefficients is deciding. Earlier we have seen only first order filter with 2 coefficients. Now it is a 50th order filter with 51 coefficients. This is mandatory. So this is how it works. What is this and everything? We'll discuss that if time permits. Okay. And all these codings as very clearly explained, and it is being demonstrated. It is very clearly demonstrated. Say, so for example, I am showing you the low pass filter now. Okay. For example, I am showing you the low pass filter quickly. Later on, you can look at it in detail, right? This is the low pass filter implementation with the same code that what we have seen right now. This is the same low pass filter code implementation, just like so. This is the low pass filter code. Okay, so this is written here as you see, filter type of a low pass filter, and it is a rectangular window, and the sampling frequency is 40,000 samples per second. Why? Because we are processing audio signal processing, hence 44,000 samples need to be taken, and cutoff frequency is 4 kHz. It is 4 kHz low pass filter. So up to 4 kHz it has to allow, and above 4 kHz it has to attenuate. So the same tap I am having this here. Why? Because from the fundamentals we are taking it to the higher level. That's what. Okay. The same with the same 4 tap filter. Here it is 52 taps. That's the only difference. Here you can see the table. Just now we have seen the same table here, 01F and 010E. In the code we have written the same thing, right? The same table is entered here in this coding, and then we are going to simulate this code. Not only simulation, we are going to download this code into the kit. This is the kit what we have in our institution in 5416 kit. We are going to download this program into this kit. You can see it is getting programmed, and after programming, you can see this is the kit. Quickly, this is the DS5416 processor. This 5416 processor from the PC we have connected to the kit through RS232 COM port. So our microprocessor microcontroller is needed here to communicate the PC with the kit through the communication port, which is COM port. Here you can see 9 pins in 2 rows. This is the input, where the input from the function generator in the oscilloscope, both the input waveforms and output waveforms are shown. So this is the yellow color is the input waveform, and green color is the output waveform. 2 inputs from the signal generator is here, and one output to the oscilloscope. Okay, one input to the signal generator. Sorry, one input from the signal generator to the kit, and the same input is given to the oscilloscope, which is this yellow color signal, and another output is green color. Okay, this is very well explained very clearly in this video. I'll share this, and then you can look at it, and offline it will be very much comfortable. Okay, let us see how it is performing low pass filtering. Now the input and output both are same, right? The input and output, because it is a low pass filter, the input output both are same. Why? Because the input frequency is some 3 kHz or something. Because the low pass filter with 4 kHz cutoff frequency, now the frequency was increased. You can see my hand when it is rotated clockwise, frequency is increased. So now it is 2 kHz. So output is maximum. Now it is something around 11 kHz. Hence it is getting attenuated. So 11 kHz signal is attenuated. 2 kHz signal is allowed. Hence it is acting as a low pass filter. But there is no operational amplifier. There is no resistor, but there is no capacitor. But you can see higher frequency signals are getting attenuated, and lower frequency signals are allowed. So the HFNs are acting as a low pass filter. It is proved practically by using function generator and oscilloscope. Instead of using microphone and loudspeaker, it is better to use function generator and oscilloscope to celebrate it. This is our Keysight oscilloscope, which is there in our institution, and there is a function generator connected to the kit, and you can enjoy the same code. Also it has been shared in your lab, DSP lab. I request you all to look at this and then try to experience this with the help of this video. And for high pass filter, the same. So just now you have seen the low pass filter, and the high pass filter, the same setup. Only in the code I have changed the table to table 1. That's all. Now it is a low frequency. It is around 3 kHz. So output is following the input, right? Output follows the input is signal processing, right? So the yellow color waveform is the input, green color waveform is the output. So output is following the input because the frequency is low. Now when you increase the frequency, automatically it will, because it is high pass filter, the amplitude is low. Okay. So when you increase the frequency, means automatically you will get the output in a more beautiful way. You can see the output is following the input at high frequency. Output is attenuated in the input when it is at low frequency, because it is high pass filter. The cutoff frequency is 4 kHz. So at high frequency, the output follows the input. At low frequency, the output is getting attenuated. You can see something like this. It's very interesting. Okay, so I have explained in more beautiful way, very clearly. It is up to you to listen to this, which is very important, very much useful for you in our DSP theory, DSP lab, as well as embedded system and lot more. Okay, so somewhere we have ports, somewhere we have probes, etc. So we have discussed about aliasing also in this video. We have discussed about aliasing also in this video, where you have heard about aliasing. You have to see what is aliasing, right? So this is the input, this is sample and hold. You have studied in the op-amp and the signals and system, sample and hold. This is sample and hold, which you can experience very clearly. And aliased signal, right? Aliased signal. Because the input frequency is 20 kilohertz. Input frequency is 20 kilohertz. And when you see the aliased, this is the aliasing. So the input output is not following the input because the sampling frequency is less than the twice that of the maximum input frequency, signal frequency. That is what we need to celebrate. Fantastic, right? So it is up to you to spend some time in looking at these videos, experience aliasing, signal processing, and all. Without this, you cannot understand much, right? This is the aliased output, right? Looks like amplitude modulated waveform. The objective is not amplitude modulated waveform. This is aliased waveform. That is the one I need to convey here to all of you. So when frequency decreases, then there is no aliasing. When frequency increases, there will be an aliasing, as we all know. When frequency decreases means Fs will be greater than 2 waveform. When the input frequency increases means at a certain time frequency, Fs will become less than Fm. Then automatically output will never follow the input. Okay. So similarly, band pass filter. For band pass filter, you don't want to do anything. You have to include table 2. You can see a band pass filter with 4 kilohertz cutoff frequency and the same encoding. Slight modifications will help us to do the band pass filtering also. It's very interesting. That also you can verify in the function generator and oscilloscope with the DSP processor kit. So with more interest and involvement, by taking care of you because you are in your house, and it will be very much useful for you if I show you some of these function generator oscilloscope kit and how it is getting programmed. It is very well explained in this videos. Humble request you to look at these videos to celebrate signal processing